Mjolnir, the true weapon of the almighty Thor, is a rendition of his great power as a storm god. Together with Thor's powers, Mjolnir enabled Thor to win the toughest of battles and even supported him in times of trouble. Mjolnir in itself was a person with a unique personality, credited to God Tempest. The history and development of Mjolnir are genuinely heroic, no matter what the circumstance. The true Mjolnir found a way somehow to be resurrected back to its original form every time. Let's delve into some more interesting details of how Mjolnir came to be and how it is still in its current standing. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. What is Mjolnir? How was it created? Long ago, two elder gods fought between themselves. The result was a moon made of Uru shattering. It ended up in pieces, and one of the pieces landed in Nidavellir. Over there, dwarves claimed the piece for themselves. The dwarves then proceeded to give this chunk to Odin. Odin was the newly chosen ruler of Asgardia. The gift was a token for Odin's heroic strength and bravery in warding off the trolls from the dwarves' realm. After some time, a powerful storm took place called the God Tempest. Odin fought with it heavily to protect his kingdom and people. After he had weakened the storm, he caught the God Tempest and captured it in the chunk of Uru he received earlier. Thereupon, Odin ordered the dwarves to create Mjolnir from the Uru. However, God Tempest's strength was immeasurable, and it wouldn't be manipulated. The dwarves had to use the heat of a star to manipulate it. The star almost gave up afterwards, and blew up later, and was about to take Midgard with it. This is known as the Extinction Event, the event that wiped dinosaurs off the planet. However, Mjolnir was completed in a total span of 17 weeks. Odin got it back from Earth after it landed over there. Despite major trials, Odin wasn't able to control Mjolnir. He had also cast upon it a spell to restrict it from being wielded by anyone else. He rarely used it, and after assuming the throne, he stashed it away in the armory of the kingdom. It is known that the God Tempest did die, but his power was retained in the weapon. Odin had slayed the frost giant Loki with the Mjolnir long ago. While Odin was on the conquest of the Nine Realm, Hela, who was Odin's eldest daughter, held Mjolnir. She used to help her father in battles with it. Later, Odin imprisoned her, and at that time the weapon was taken from her. Afterward, the weapon was given to Thor, Odin's son, after multiple trials. Thor has managed to withhold it and carry it with him during most of his adventures. Despite Asgard coming into ruins during Ragnarok, Thor and his weapon survived and lived through it. Entire MCU journey of Mjolnir, Jotunheim truce. During Thor's coronation, frost giants interrupted the ceremony in their attempt to steal the casket of ancient winter from his father's vault. Thor was furious at this move and wanted to get back at the giants. He went to Jotunheim, along with Loki, Lady Sif, and the Warriors 3, wherein Thor, upon being mocked, killed the majority of the giants using Mjolnir. His father, upon coming to know of this situation and their true status, took away Thor's power and banished him, along with his weapon to Earth as a mortal. He also spellcast Mjolnir to be used by a worthy owner only. Earth situation. Mjolnir was now embedded into Earth, and localities were going crazy about this new invention, not aware of its whereabouts. An 084 was filed and was being investigated by S.H.I.E.L.D. under Phil Coulson. When Mjolnir fell, it created a huge crater around it, just like a meteor. Coulson was the one to inform Nick Fury of this development. As Thor came to know about his whereabouts, he tried to reach there quickly and tried to lift it, but due to his current unworthy state, he could not lift it and ended up being captured by the police. Loki also tried to come and lift the weapon, but wasn't able to do so. Union of Dua. Loki then proceeded to capture Asgard and ordered the destroyer to kill Thor, Lady Sif, and the Warriors 3. The destroyer attacked them, and Thor decided to sacrifice himself to save others. This sacrifice rendered Thor as being worthy of Mjolnir, and the weapon flew right back to him and restored his power. Then he proceeded to return to Asgard and stop Loki in his tracks to destroy Jotunheim. This required him to destroy the pathway, the Rainbow Bridge, with Mjolnir. In fights against Hulk and Captain America, Thor uses Mjolnir. Captain America's shield was able to withhold the blows of Mjolnir with great force. However, Hulk had to give in to its force. New York battle. Thor joined the Avengers bandwagon and used the Mjolnir against Chitauri with great effect. However, the weapon was unable to disarm the Tesseract. During the battle with Chitauri, he used Mjolnir to kill the majority. Mjolnir against Marauders. Thor also equipped his weapon in 2013 against Marauders. During the War of Nine Realms, he destroyed Cronin's Stone Man with a single hit. Thor also used Mjolnir to destroy Melkith during their sudden invasion of Asgard. He used Mjolnir to send lightning onto him and burn his face partially. Svartalfheim battle. During this battle, Thor tries to kill Aether by striking a lightning bolt through Mjolnir. However, Aether remains unaffected by this stance. He got back into the same position just like nothing happened. Same thing happened with the Algrim when Mjolnir wasn't able to successfully stride against him. Greenwich battle. In this battle, Thor and Hammer became separated at a point. They were constantly shifting worlds during the fight. However, Mjolnir and Thor were able to stand up against Melkith as Thor successfully deflected his attacks. At quite a crucial moment, Thor summoned the Mjolnir and used it to bury Erik Selvig's gravitational devices deep into Melkith's chest. Then Jane Foster took the dead warlord back to Svartalfheim. Post his battle with Melkith, Thor returns to Asgard, unknowing of Loki's current play. He returns the Mjolnir to Odin. However, it is Loki under Odin's pretense. He refuses to accept back the Mjolnir and asks him to relocate to Earth. Thor and Mjolnir then were sent to London using the Bifrost Bridge. Thor and Jane. Thor also found himself getting closer to Jane. Both of them entered into a serious relationship in 2014, with Mjolnir beside them. Thor enchanted the weapon to protect Foster at all costs from all sorts of danger. Attack on Hydra. During the attack on Hydra base in Sokovia, Captain America and Thor's weapons played an amalgamation. Thor hammered the shield using Mjolnir, which sent out a huge shockwave, leaving their enemies immobile. Avengers Tower Party. After the battle, the Avengers seemed to enjoy the return of Loki's scepter. Over there, everyone played a game of trying to lift up the Mjolnir. At that moment, Captain America moves Mjolnir slightly. Thor became quite suspicious that he was actually worthy, and that made him uncomfortable. Salvage Yard Battle. Thor was using Mjolnir during the Salvage Yard Battle. During the battle, Mjolnir once flew right beside Quicksilver. Unequipped with his usual smart thinking, he tried to grab onto Mjolnir to attack right back at the Avengers. At that moment, he faced severe defeat as he got dragged for his life by Mjolnir till he released it. Vision. Thor tried recharging the regeneration cradle with Mjolnir. The cradle was actually containing Ultron's incomplete body, which actually resulted in the birth of Vision. Upon a serious discussion of whether this new person is deemed trustworthy, Vision handovers the Mjolnir to Thor. Quite casual, Thor receives an immediate instinct to trust him as Mjolnir. He also allowed Vision to be the bearer of Mind Stone. Sokovia battle. During this battle, we again witnessed the duel of Captain America and Thor at play. Captain America's shield throw and Thor's hammering of it killed many Ultron sentries. Vision also used the hammer during the battle, which was a shocker to everyone involved. Later, he appreciated the balancing ability of Mjolnir with Thor. Odin in Norway. Odin was located by Thor and Loki with the aid of Doctor Strange in Norway. Just before dying, Odin informed his sons of their having a sister called Hela. Odin informs them of Hela's intentions for them. Thor, upon meeting Hela, throws Mjolnir at her, which she destroys with her bare hands into pieces. Tourist attraction. It was 2025, and now Mjolnir's pieces were laid out as a tourist attraction in New Asgard. They were stored in a glass container and were being protected by Einherjar. Jane Foster. Jane Foster had been suffering from cancer for a while now. However, her life turned sideways when Mjolnir called on her. Mjolnir was imprisoned by Thor's enchantment to protect Foster. She held up the weapon and became adorned with Asgardian armor, just like Thor. She became the mighty Thor with Mjolnir. She decided to combat Gore and his shadow monsters using Mjolnir. Its pieces now render a separate attack on multiple enemies all at once, showing a major upgrade. Thor, Mighty Thor, and Valkyrie fought together against these enemies to protect the new Asgard from danger. At the brink of death. At the brink of death, Mighty Thor had realized that grasping onto Mjolnir was draining her of her life force. She had just decided to put down the hammer when she saw Thor in danger because of the gore. She once again stepped in as Mighty Thor and fought against the enemy. She succumbed to her cancer, and Mjolnir was now left behind for Thor to use. Love. Thor shared Mjolnir with his adopted daughter Love. She was extremely strong as she drew her powers from eternity. She also went ahead and drew a smiley on the axe, and Thor took the upgraded axe to the battle again. Alternate reality. It was after the snap happened and washed away numerous people from the face of the earth. The Avengers decided to host a time heist in 2023. They decided to travel to multiple past timelines to get the 6 Infinity Stones, which would further enable them to resurrect the people from Snap. With the help of the Quantum Realm, Thor, Rocket, and Raccoon traveled to Asgard to get the ether from Jane Foster. After that, Thor summoned his weapon, Mjolnir, and as it arrived, he was overjoyed for still being worthy. All of them then returned to the present, wherein an alter Thanos and his army attacked the Avengers compound. Thor combined the Stormbreaker and Mjolnir and attacked Thanos. Mjolnir got out of Thor's possession. Meanwhile, Captain America, who was earlier deemed worthy of lifting Mjolnir, took possession and combined its power with the shield to attack alter Thanos. After a week, Captain America returned all the 6 Infinity Stones and Mjolnir to their respective timelines and universes. Using the Quantum Realm, he returned Mjolnir and the Reality Stone to Asgard in 2013. How it becomes the god of hammer. Nick Fury had informed Thor of God's core belief of being selfish and uncaring of humanity, which shook his core beliefs and values. He felt his insecurity of being unworthy rising to the surface again. He was unable to wield the hammer yet again. Meanwhile, Mjolnir lay on the moon untouched by anyone, until one day, when mighty Thor, Jane Foster, wielded because of Thor's protection enchantment for his former lover, i.e. Jane. For a while, Jane was separated from the hammer. Hydra had been taking over the United States, and an alter Captain America entered the scene. He wields the hammer. A Madam Hydra using the cosmic cube had altered the substance of the hammer, enchanting it with being wielded by the strongest one rather than the most worthy one. When real Captain America entered, fortunately, the evil enchantment faded, and so did the evil alter Captain America. After this, Mjolnir returned to its owner, mighty Thor. When Jane encountered the hammer, she was going through a chronic illness. Anyhow, she went ahead to become the mighty Thor and fought off the enemy. However, all of her progress in chemotherapy was lost because of Mjolnir. Despite all toxins being removed from her body, only cancer was, as it became a part of her body. She even considered giving up the hammer for a while, but when the battle against Mangog arose, she was left with no choice. She tied the Mangog with the Mjolnir to hurl both of them into the sun. The plan was successful. It led to the destruction of everything. Everything in this context meant Mangog, the Mjolnir, and Jane herself. The story didn't end here, as the destruction of Mjolnir led to the freedom of God Tempest from God Tempest, and the Asgardians both revived Jane back to life. She gave a piece of Mjolnir back to Thor, which she was able to retrieve from the incident. As the War of the Nine Realms was about to end, a curious Thor was awaiting an answer. He was looking for a solution to rescue his parents from Elkid. However, this required a sacrifice on the part of Thor, an eye and the last remaining shred of Mjolnir in his possession. God Tempest manifested in the sun in the last stage of the battle, and Thor demanded his weapon be resurrected. A restored Mjolnir was now at his feet, which he was able to wield. But there was a twist that Thor had not known about. Mangog's evil essence had also amalgamated with God Tempest in the reformation of the Mjolnir. Despite being worthy and having the hammer again, he found it difficult to lift the hammer with ease. He discovered that it was his new position, the king, which made it difficult to wield it. He left the hammer at Avengers Mountain to keep it safe. Mjolnir, on the other hand, awoke a female humanoid avatar from God Tempest Lightning and went on a killing spree. It started by killing off the dwarves of Nidavellir and destroying the city of Broxton. Thor, upon hearing this, confronted the Avatar, who now called herself the God of Hammers and the bringer of ruins to Asgard. She was about to kill Thor by chopping off his one arm first, when she was abruptly stopped by Odin and Sif and sent Mjolnir Cosmos away with the help of Bifrost. However, Mjolnir came back within a few seconds and broke off Odin's spine. She lectured Thor about not being able to use Mjolnir in its true essence, and how Mangog's essence is present in Mjolnir after the resurrection. As Odin sacrificed himself to save his dear son, an enraged Thor sent away Mjolnir back to the Godmaker, where it was forged. With the power and force of 1,000,000 suns, the God Tempest's evil essence was burned off, and it finally shattered into pieces. Thor went into an Odin sleep for 4 months. Meanwhile, his sister Angela restored the Mjolnir, which now had glowing cracks. Odin's spirit came and rested into the Mjolnir as it felt restless in Valhalla. How does it grant unlimited powers? Mjolnir, a powerful weapon, came into existence from the Asgardian metal Uru. Odin had enhanced its structure with added embellishments to make it indestructible. Mjolnir withholds the power and force of every weapon in the universe. One of the exceptions in that category, however, is primary adamantium. Mjolnir had stood winning against the extreme heat of the sun, Kang the Conqueror's antimatter screen, and super powerful blasts. It is also known that Mjolnir also possessed God Tempest consciousness. One of the major traits of this weapon was its ability to project a physical being. It could wield lighting and project a female talking out of it. It used this tactic to confront Thor earlier. However, this property wields a lot of energy for the bearer and takes much time to practice. Talking about the powers of this weapon, manipulating weather tops the list. Thor could channel storm elements by himself, but Mjolnir enhanced his force and power, be it light, storm, thunder, tidal wave, tornado, volcano eruption, and almost everything else. It could leash these at a whim. This power also came with the ability of the wielder to stop such weather conditions discretion when channeling such elements. Scale mattered. It was upon the wielder if he wanted to cast a storm or a solar flare upon a planet or planets. Another power that enmeshes the wielder is the ability of the wielder to come into flight. By grasping the weapon, one could fly at enormous speed. Thor used to be practically invisible when flying due to his fast speed. It's been noted that Thor hadn't equipped the quickest speed yet to the weapon. The power enabled Thor to change his course, enhance or decrease speed, and even transcend time and space. After discussing its true elements and power, as well as its presence in the multiverse, we can surely say that Mjolnir is a strong weapon. Its powers are truly commendable. Its camaraderie with Thor and all who deem it worthy of wielding it is truly appreciable. The episodes of witnessing Mjolnir with its different owners were especially interesting. Thor's journey of knowing his worth and developing his worth in the process is what makes the whole thing a great story. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks everyone.